Hey everyone, sorry I'm a little bit late for my Facebook Live. I said I would start 11 minutes ago, so I got a message from Elena saying, I can't find you. Here I am in my kitchen on the very last day of my isolation, well, quarantine. Everyone's still isolating and self-distancing and doing all of these things, but today is officially the last day I need to be locked inside my house for the 14 days since I got home from Budapest quite suddenly, and I'm very excited. I'm going to go to the beach, I'm going to do all these things, and I wanted to, so we're doing the JCF training, Joy of Business Facilitator training this week with Simone Milasas. So hello everyone that's no one watching. Maybe some people will come on and ask me some questions. Otherwise, I can just talk as well. I'm very good at doing that. And there's some things like definitely up in my world at the moment as well. So I'm just going to talk to that for now. And then if anyone comes on, one person, please ask me some questions or anything you guys want to know about as well. But there's definitely an energy even with doing these Facebook Lives. So at the moment we're doing Joy of Business Facilitator training with Simone Milasas. It's every morning here in Australia just for 3 hours, which I love the format of these classes, how we've done the, the CF training was a little bit different. It was online, but it was the sort of full class length, day length, whereas JCF training we've done in 5 sessions of 3 hours, which has been brilliant. So, and that's kind of like my brain's going in 50 million directions here, but it's kind of also the energy. Like I wanted to talk about a couple of things today, which is like the future, and also like choosing, like being in order to prove rather than doing. Doing in order to prove rather than just being. So Brendan came on as a special guest on the JCF training this morning. It's so weird not having anyone on here. I'm just talking to myself, but that's fine because and that's what I love about, access and facilitating and all this sort of stuff as well. It's the places that are up in your world, and every single person I've had a conversation with over these last days, everything I mention or that they mention, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what's up for me as well. So what if like part of being willing to talk about things was as much a contribution to yourself as it is to everyone else as well? And what if like nothing about facilitating or having an access business or having any business is based on being the best or perfect at what you're doing, and it's way more about showing up and being the energy of you? And like so much now I'm starting to scratch into that a little bit, and I get very much it's just the tip of the iceberg, but it's this place where like even having these 14 days at home, and I've been excited to create, but I've definitely gone to this place with it where I was more, so now I've got this time, what can I tick off my to-do list in a way? Like what do I need to get done in order to feel like I'm doing things, rather than looking at what can I be now? Where can I start delving into and exploring me, like the energy of me and what it is to show up in this world as me, what it is to be me, and what I actually want that to be moving forward. So like there's a bunch of things that kind of have contributed to this place that I'm in now, and maybe some of you guys are like there as well. Gary talked about on the World Without End call a few days ago, what if, everyone's kind of in this place of almost I keep clicking a button. I hope it's not doing anything. I'm on my selfie stick. There's my puppy dogs. Hello puppy dogs. Everyone's in this place of like, when it's like hibernation almost, like where something like it reminds me of like in some of sci-fi movies when people are traveling through space and you go into that status of like when you're traveling from here to here, and it might be 30,000 light years or something. So they put people's bodies in this hold. I can't remember, it's something status or something like that, where you're just waiting until you wake up again. Like you're waiting until you get to your destination and then you get revived and you're there sort of thing. So like for me, I was so aware of the energy with these days that we're all quarantining and isolating and, distancing from everyone, that people were just in this place of Yeah, you did find me. Thank you. I did apologize at the beginning for being late. I'm sorry. I was on the JCF training and then I had some conversations with Simone. So I apologize for my tardiness. But yeah, this place where the world's almost just waiting for things to go back to normal, like waiting for, oh, you know, when we're through this, it'll be, you know, business as usual. But what if it was like, what if that wasn't at all like how it was going to be? And I talked about on my live last week about if you opened the door, like I know you guys are going in and out of your house, you're not necessarily in quarantine like I am, but if you walked out the door in however long, 4 weeks, 6 months, however long it is until the changes are happening where the virus dies down and we can sort of be interacting a little bit more with each other. When you open that door to the world again, what sort of world would you like to see? What world would you like to step into? And what energy would you like to be in that world? And what would you like to contribute to creating it as well? And that doesn't need to wait. None of this needs to fucking wait until COVID-19 changes, until COVID-19 goes away, until things go back to normal. Like, what if the energy of whatever that was, oh my God, my Who Does This Belong To app just reminded me, who does this belong to? If you don't have that, it's a brilliant app from Access Consciousness called Who Does This Belong To? And it basically sets a reminder on your phone that flashes up and reminds you to ask that brilliant question. You're in your 7-day there in New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand's got some of the strictest lockdown laws. I was talking to Simone today about, I get that Australia and New Zealand will probably have the quickest change with seeing COVID-19 change. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm going in a million different directions. Like, looking at this energy of now, if there was no future, if there was no in X amount of time we get to go back to normal, if there was no anything, like where would you start creating your life right now and what choices would you make? And even with this time that we have with everything really sort of slowing down and kind of there being less happening, less to do in a way, like where are you filling that space with things to do rather than starting to explore the energy of you and what you be and what you desire to be in this world? And anyone that knows me knows I'm a busy person, like, you know, meetings and here and going there and going here and going there. And for me, if I'm not doing that, so I'm going to sit down, it's so easy for me to go into this place of, oh, now I'm bored. I'm bored if I'm not doing a million things. So like looking at myself at this, like what, even like having the space to look at who I actually am and what I desire to create, like some of these really confronting, uncomfortable things, and where like my whole life I've been surrounded with people that have been in their own way quite phenomenal or strong people, and where I've basically streamlined into that energy a lot of the time and found my place based on the people around me a lot, or, you know, the access classes I'm working on, or, you know, Brendan was talking about it on Joy of Business Facilitator Training. And this could be anything for you guys. This could be that you were working so I'm just going to tilt my camera a tiny bit. You were working a 9-to-5 job or a job, and now you're not doing that anymore. Or, you know, kids were going to school and you had this family routine and you're not doing that anymore. Like whatever it was that you filled your day with that is no longer there in the same way, but we still try to fill those spaces with that stuff, with a routine or a to-do list or something like that. And for me, it was always like, Brendan was saying it as well, and it so matched the energy for me. Like, you know, I would travel for 5 or 6 weeks working on access classes, and then I would come home, and my home time would be a time to pack and you know, catch up with my dogs and catch up with Australia and, you know, have a moment to chill out for a minute. And then my next step would be pack and go again. And now it's like, we don't know, like no one knows when we will travel again. No one knows when we'll be able to step onto a plane and move. And for you guys, it might not be traveling. Like I said, it might just be like, you don't know when you'll go back to work. Like for the beauty industry, hairdressers, like it's all closed down. So it's like for you guys and the planes, I mean, Jesus, Qantas, like they've grounded all international flights until the end of May. So we're now, and I get it too, like money is obviously going to be that thing of like, in people's worlds. And I mean, I'm fine, like I have money, but it's still in my world. So first thing I would look at with that is like, definitely who does this belong to? Because even though it might be something in your world, when you make it solid and real and that it's a problem or an issue, that's when you can't actually start to see the ways to change it, or the magic or the mystery or the possibility that's available there with changing it. It's not to say it doesn't exist, but it's more looking at it from this different place of, rather than it being like, oh, I'm freaked out about money or I'm stressed out about money. It's like, okay, so money's up in my world. Where can I look at, what can I be with this energy? What can I be with what's showing up in my world about money right now? Rather than going anywhere to it being an issue or a problem, what if the minute that something network connection, oh, now I'm back. I don't know if I dropped then or not, but yeah, what about if instead of making anything a problem in your world, it became a place of question and possibility? And this time, like for the next however long we're here, that no matter how uncomfortable it gets, you really start looking at what you want to start creating your life as. And rather than it being anywhere, you know, the news tells us you should do this every day. You can go outside to walk the dogs. Like there's so many places that this is complete chaos and people are still trying to order it and still trying to put structure around it. Like what if you were willing to really be the energy of chaos in this time and create the future and the life that you knew was possible, and you've never really had the chance to do it because you've had so many places to be, deadlines, you know, I go here at this time, I go there at that time, kids at school, go to work, you know, catch a flight, at a class, check into a hotel, all that sort of stuff. Like what if now, for me, like I get it with everyone, because my whole world, everything I was doing 2 weeks ago, it's not happening now. None of it. Like we had I don't even know what's the date today, 1st of April. So maybe in about 10 days, I would have been getting on a flight and hi, Jason. Hi, Rosie. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Sorry, I get so excited on these that I just keep talking. So thank you, everyone, for watching live. And thank you if you're watching this afterwards as well. If you guys are watching this and there's anything you want me to talk about or any questions or anything that's up in your world that I can contribute to in any way, please, you can just pop it in the comments here, like either live or after the fact, and I will look at it and I will talk about it next time I'm on here. So, yeah, like in 10 days, I'd be getting on a plane to fly to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to work on some classes that Simone and Brendan had over there, and then, you know, come home and we had the Aussie classes here going on, you know, an ESB in Noosa, and then down to Melbourne and then over to New Zealand for the 6-day event. None of it. Like that's all poof, gone. But Access is creating, like we had meetings yesterday and the day before about how we're changing a lot of our classes to online. We're finding ways to still bring like these tools to the world. But if we weren't willing to really look at creating from this creating from the chaos that's in the world right now, our company would in a way cease to exist, because if you looked at it from this reality, Access is very much a company that relies on people being in big groups in one place. So yeah, like I just want to reach out to all of you guys out there that is live now or watching later and let you know that there's a different possibility available. And I know sometimes that sounds like so hard to believe, especially at a time like this. And I can only say it because I know, and I've actually created that in my own life and done it myself. It's not like, oh, I've read a book, so therefore I could tell you about it, or I know these people that have done it. You know, I saw this person do it. If you choose what they're choosing, I'm telling you guys, like, this is the stuff that I've been creating in my life every single day. And these last 2 weeks of being in quarantine have been times super uncomfortable for me, like the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life so far. But what I got to also was that if this virus didn't do what it's doing and create what it's creating in the world, hello Anne, it may have taken me many years to get to what I've gotten to in these last 2 weeks. And the main part of that is my demand for having communion with myself. communion with the future that I desire to create for me. And even still, like, I get it. There's an energy there with it that I know I still have quote unquote work to do around this, because for the last, 30 something years, as a child, I know I had this energy a lot more, but there have been a lot of years where I haven't had a communion with myself. I've created separation in order to, do what I thought was required to do in this world to be successful, I guess. It would probably be the main thing. Knowing that if I choose this, then I will make money. If I choose this, then I'll help these people, or I'll make this thing better, or I can contribute more over there. And never always 100% being with myself on the choices that I was making. And I can't really put it into words yet. And maybe over the next weeks, like as I talk on these Facebook Lives, we can look at that. Like, and maybe if it's something in your world as well, that is like anything like similar, or that you have something around, let me know. And maybe we can, because I get that as well. Like I was having a conversation with Tiffany Brennan yesterday, and she was telling me what was up in her world. And I was like, oh my God, like also recognizing how connected we all are. So, I mean, you can take that as a good thing, you can take that as a bad thing, or you can just be interesting point of view about it, and know that like whatever's going on in your world is probably also up with a fucking lot of other people as well. So, like to look at this place now where if I was truly being me, like what, my dog, what would I choose? What would I create now? And if I was willing to lose everyone and everything, what would I choose and what would I create now? And there's like, guys, honestly, that's something for me that I've definitely not been willing to go to be with, to lose everything. Yes, Maria, becoming more of who we be. And there's another great question that I did a podcast as well with my brother, Brendan Watt, a couple of days ago. So we'll go on to his podcast, I think this week, and mine next week. So I'll pop the links to both of those in the chat here. Talking about this conversation now, and we're going to do a part 2 as well if we can manage to pin each other down for another Zoom conversation. But talking about that, and he came up with a question, I don't know if it was on that or another call, if I was willing to be, what am I willing to be today that I've never been willing to be before? Like, and asking that question every day alone, like, what am I willing to be today that I've never been willing to be before? And like having that energy, like just permeate your day in every part of it. And really like when you go, another brilliant thing Simone mentioned as well is when I wake up in the morning, I tend to grab my phone, and that's where I go. I look at this, like, while I was sleeping, Europe was awake, America was awake, or they woke up, and people have created a whole lot of stuff. So I'd be like, oh, okay, now I need to catch up on what everyone's been doing. So I would grab my phone and I would start by checking out what people required of me, like what I'd missed, what was happening out there in the world, and where I could start plugging into and doing things. And honestly doing, it was way less of a place. Good morning, Wesley. It was way less of a place of being. There was some being in there, but it was definitely fueled more from this place of what do I need to do now? I'm awake, my eyes are open, what do I need to do? And Simone was talking about, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, when you wake up in the morning, don't look at your phone for half an hour. Like, and what I've been playing with, which I know, like if you guys have come, like the last few intros and things I've done, I've talked about this as well, like really starting my morning with this like exercise of energetically expanding over the whole world, because it's the practice and the willingness to keep going there every single day, every time it comes into your awareness, that will start to change it. I want to read this because this is actually connecting. Hi, Atali. I think that's how you say your name. Sorry if I said it wrong, Atali. Connecting to parts of us that haven't been willing or able to connect to before. What else is possible with all of those possibilities? Will it let me see more? Oh. It won't let me see the rest of your post. But I think I get a sense of what you're saying. Like, what else is possible with all of the possibilities that it's like that we know is available, but now we have the space and the time to actually explore some of this stuff. And for me, especially, like Dane did a call this morning with the certified facilitators of access and talked about your judgments of access. Not so much for me having a judgment of access, but definitely a judgment of the tools. So if you guys are watching this and you don't know about access consciousness, it's basically, you know, all I talk about on these things. And it's very much where I function from in my life, I guess you would say. So access is a set of tools and techniques and practical things that you can use in your life to basically change anything. Like there's tools that are there for absolutely anything, but you need to use them. And you need to be them and not just say them. Or, you know, in access, we say like a question will empower. Like a question is what will open up the doorways to greater possibilities. A question will always lead you to a place of finding and discovering and having access to more. But sometimes we ask a question just because we think that's the right thing to do. Or sometimes we run a tool or a process because we're like, oh, okay, so I'm having a point of view right now. I'm going to do the interesting point of view tool. Or, oh, I'm judging this right now. So I'm going to run, you know, this tool, or I'm going to ask this question, which is not really actually being the tools and being the question. It's doing them, right? And this is like when I was talking about before, when you wake up in the morning and you grab your phone, well, I should say because I'm talking about myself. When I wake up in the morning and I grab my phone, I go to the energy of doing. Like there's not really a question in my world. It's more like I flick through the chats, I look for the stuff that's applicable to me, and I start dealing with things. So really to start playing with this place of changing that, and with the tools, being the tools, not doing the tools, with myself, being myself, not doing myself. Sorry, I just realized how that sounded. Yeah, so this place, so sorry, I totally lost track of thought, but when, now Amanda's sending me laughy faces, which makes me laugh even more. So when you wake up in the morning, rather than whatever the first thing you do is, like whatever, and for me, it's grabbing my phone and tapping into the world via my phone. Yes, you can do that yourself. Yes, you can do that too. Exactly right, Amanda. And let's not even go there after 14 days of quarantine. Changing the subject. Way too psychic to be thinking about what everyone's doing in self-isolation. Don't go visual. So whatever that is for you in the morning, like the first thing you do, it might not be your phone. It might be, you know, whatever, like rolling over to your partner in bed and checking and tuning into their world, or your children, or like whatever that first thing has been that you've done when you wake up in the morning that kind of sets the pace of your day. But whether you realize it or not, does take you totally out of a place of being and into a place of doing. What if you either woke up half an hour earlier or woke up at the same time, but for that first half an hour really was present with, cool, thank you, Atali, and I'll read that in one sec as well. But what if for that first half an hour, it was a complete honoring of being? And like, however that looked for you. And it's going to be different for everyone as well. Like for some of you, it might be go outside and, you know, sit out in nature or on your veranda or balcony or outside area and be in nature. It might be closing your eyes and doing sort of like some energetic expansion exercise. It might be asking yourself some questions and running some processes. It might be, you know, asking some questions about the day ahead and what you desire to create with yourself and what you can accomplish in your day and stuff like that. But to really start tapping into the energy of yourself and of that energy of being, and then get up and, or maybe even if you do get up, make your coffee or a cup of tea or get a drink of water, but have that first half an hour to really start playing with the energy of being rather than doing. Yeah, so Atali says, I just don't feel myself if I'm not living the tools. Exactly. Yeah. But how much do you not even know what feeling yourself is? Like, Sorry, I did it again. And I don't mean feeling yourself like with your hands, although that can be fun as well, right, Amanda? I mean like that, the energetic feeling of yourself, which is exactly what you mean, Natalia. And I know we all know that. Like if right now as well, you could tap into one moment in your life, and it might have been when you were 3 years old, that you were energetically so present, congruent, and with yourself energetically. Oh yeah, let me talk to that as well, Elena. Yeah, but that moment where you know energetically you're there, you're being you. Like, how much of your day is like that? Honestly, like for me, it's probably, I'm going to be honest and say probably less than 10% of my day has been currently, for a lot of years, probably that energy of me being totally present and willing to be me. So that's my target, my ask, my big ask of myself. And I'm not going to lie, I thought I was actually doing this already. And this is sort of where what I've been talking at with using the tools, not being the tools. Because I was like, well, I do Access. I've been doing, I've been doing Access. I go to all these classes. Doesn't mean shit. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm looking at myself in my phone right now. It's like, you can do as much of whatever you want to do, but until you start actually having this place of choosing you, no matter what it shows up, no matter what it looks like, it's really just a light version of it. It's really just a, almost like I feel like sometimes I feel like I've been faking it in a way, like, and that's kind of tough to say as well, like that it's been this place of like, oh, if I go to this class, then this will change. If I choose this, then this will change. And really, yeah, thank you, Maria. We think we have it all until we actually have to stop and look at some of this stuff as well. Yeah, so I mean, I could sit here and talk to this all day, but what if like even in the next few days, and I would love your guys' feedback about this playing with the energy of being rather than doing, and however that looks for you. Elena also mentioned she finds it hard to go to sleep at night because she looks at her phone. So maybe it's also, maybe both, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. And hey, we've got a lot of time on our hands right now. What if you took half an hour in the middle of the day as well and did something? So my suggestions would be the meditation walk that Gary Douglas did, where you basically take, I don't know if it's 20 or 30 minutes or something to walk just, I think it's like 50 meters or 100 meters or something. Like that might be one thing. Dane has got a brilliant app on Kajabi called You Got This, and it has a bunch of short audio recordings. Like most of them are between, I think like 10 and 15 minutes. Elena, I would definitely suggest the sleep one for that. It's brilliant. Maybe playing that every night before you go to sleep rather than looking at your phone. And really being willing, guys, to take this time to choose something different, maybe something greater. Yes, we know that place, exactly. We know the place of being us. Lunchtime siesta, exactly. Lay down, have half an hour, be with yourself energetically, and keep working the muscle of that too. Like it might not show up straight away. It might still be a thing where you're like, fuck, I just did it again. I'm not being me. I've moved away from that energy. But what if that awareness and acknowledgement was all it took to change it again as well? I was going to say something else, but now I can't remember. So yeah, but what if we played with this and then in the next Facebook Live, you know, or you guys leave your feedback and let me know how it is finding you and being the energy of you, and never it needing to look a certain way. And never, for me, I know when I'm not being me because I'm looking to other people to bounce back off and to find what that looks like. So I can't really explain that, and it doesn't really matter, but that for me is I know where I've checked out of that energy. So yeah, like what if? Yeah. And one other quick thing I wanted to talk to you guys about as well is I'm going to do a book club. It's starting next week. I can't remember the date, but I'll put the, fucking hell, it's getting hot here in Australia. I'm going to put my fans on, sorry. Oh, I'm going to go to the beach tomorrow. That's exciting. I'm doing a book club on the Relationships Done Different book. No, Relationship Are You Sure You Want One book. Da, 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 da. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my God, I'm a little nervous because relationships is something that I don't really talk about all that much, but a few people have nailed me on it. And I figured if there's something you're resisting in your world, maybe it's something that can actually contribute a fuckload of change as well. So it's going to be 3 calls a week for 3 weeks, so 9 parts. It starts on, I want to say the 10th of April, but that could be incorrect. So I'll just post the link in this chat here so you can check it out and join if you want. It's $50 for the whole 3 weeks, 9 calls. I might see if I can get a special guest or 2 on along the way. I'll see what I can do, maybe even for like 10 minutes, maybe one of the authors of the book, who knows? I mean, one of them is my brother, so I should have a little bit of sway with him, but he's more than happy to say no to me as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so thank you for everyone who watched, who came on live. And hey, next time I'm on here, like whether it's in a day doing something else or a week, I'm excited to see how different this feels as well. And not using this as a reference point, but also knowing even the energy of doing Facebook Lives has changed so much for me. Where when I used to do them, I would definitely put on like this persona of my Facebook Live face. I need to present myself in a way that is going to, oh, adore you too, Mrs. Beluso. Yeah, put on this persona of like what it looks like to do a Facebook Live. And now I'm kind of like, you know, I've been up since 5 a.m. My hair's a little bit and I'm like, you know, it's like, what if each of us showing up in the world as us was more of a contribution than ever getting it right or ever, you know, fulfilling other people's expectations. Like, yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking because I'm thirsty and I want to go work my body out and move and do fun things. So thank you again, guys, for watching. Oh, thank you, Atali. Thank you for your questions. And anything else you want me to talk about next week, put it in the chat and then I'll talk about it. And you don't even have to come on live. I can just talk about it and you can watch it later. Otherwise, I'll come up with things to talk about because, yeah, there's a lot changing in my world. So have way too much fun, guys. Enjoy this time for you.